sort of 3 ways that you can look at this picture and 3 ways that a fabric can be harmful. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is all about sustainable fabrics. So it's definitely on the social consciousness at the moment. Everybody trying to be a bit more mindful and conscious of their shopping habits. And I think it can be a bit of a minefield when it comes to fashion and fabrics and what's good and what's bad. So I'm hoping that this video, by the end of it, you'll feel a bit more clued up into sort of navigating that minefield and using this video as a bit of a guide for you going forward, just to help inform your clothing choices. So if you do enjoy the video, please do thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel, and I'm going to crack straight on. So it can be easier to make sustainable swaps in your home. So for example, we use soap in cardboard boxes instead of shower gel that comes in bottles, single-use plastic bottles. A lot of people make the swaps from not using plastic bags at the shops and using cloth bags, beeswax wraps instead of cling film, that kind of thing. But when it comes to fashion and clothing, it can be a bit difficult to navigate and difficult to understand. So the first fabric I'm going to talk about, in fact, before I talk about a fabric, I think I'm going to just explain that there are sort of 3 ways that you can look at this picture and 3 ways that a fabric can be harmful. So the first thing I would say is to think about the raw material. So the second thing I would say is the processing that goes into making that garment. So what is that manufacturing process involving? What does it look like? And then the third thing would be what happens to your garment when it's reached the end of its life. Does it decompose? How is it disposed of? That kind of thing. So that's like 3 points to think about when you're shopping, and that will help inform you. The first fabric that we're going to talk about then is polyester. Now polyester, as you know, is a plastic, and polyester, is a no-no. It is a fabric that does not biodegrade, it does not break down, it doesn't decompose, so it causes lots of microplastics that go into the ocean, which then the fish eat, which then we eat, and it's bad and harmful for everyone all round. So polyester should be avoided at all costs, and if you are going to be buying garments that are made of polyester, I have garments that are made of polyester, but now I am so much more aware of looking for garments that are made of recycled polyester. So there is a better option than fresh polyester, and that is the recycled option. So I know Arket use recycled polyester. I think COS possibly do as well. So it's very good to look for brands that are starting to use recycled polyester. Now it doesn't solve the entire problem because polyester, whether it's recycled or new, doesn't decompose, but it's better than creating fresh polyester. That said, there's also garments that kind of need to be made of polyester or nylon, and these are things like, think about your technical fabrics like your outerwear, like a padded coat that needs to be weatherproof, or a bag. It would need to be made out of polyester. There's no reason now why there are garments that are made of a cotton poly mix, for example, apart from reducing the price of that garment. So you might have stores trying to reduce the price but not making something full organic cotton or cotton and mixing it. That shouldn't really be happening. So try and boycott that kind of thing, and when you do need to buy a garment that is made of polyester, try and find a recycled option. Okay, so next fabric we're going to talk about then is conventional cotton. So conventional cotton takes up a hell of a lot of water. Irrigation is required and a lot of water is used. So this is really bad for the environment, and although it's a natural fibre, it doesn't mean that all natural fibres and fabrics are good. Cotton gets attacked a lot by pests, and to avoid that, a lot of pesticides are used, which are extremely harmful for the environment. They get into the waterways, again, really, really bad. So a good alternative to conventional cotton is organic cotton. Now, organic cotton is 80% rain-fed, so you use a lot less water. There's a lot less of an environmental impact in that sense. Also, because organic cotton grows with crop rotation, you find that the soil recovers itself. It doesn't get totally exhausted like with with conventional cotton. You also find that then the farmers who farm the organic cotton can also sell this alongside their food. So that kind of ecosystem works together really well, and it's just attacked less by pests as well because of the crop rotation. It kind of solves itself, so you're not using a load of pesticides, and so that issue's kind of resolved too. So organic cotton is a better alternative to conventional cotton. At the same time, you can also find accreditations as well. So I think it's GOTS. I will link the accreditations down below, so you can find accreditations for organic cotton, which just makes you know that they're regulated and that the process of production is sound. In that vein, recycled cotton, just like recycled polyester, is the better option. Beats organic cotton and beats conventional cotton. So if we're using cotton that's already out there and recycling it, upcycling it to create new garments, it's keeping clothes out of landfill, it's reducing the environmental impact massively. So the recycled option is better than the organic option, but the organic option is something that you should be looking for when you're buying your basic t-shirts, you know, your cotton items. Definitely look for organic cotton, and I think a lot more retailers are doing that now, and the price point isn't that big of a difference between conventional cotton and organic cotton, so it could be an easy place to start if you're trying to be a bit more mindful about your fabric. So another fabric to avoid is viscose. Now basically this is just made of wood. It takes so many chemicals to break down the pulp and to break down this wood, and the wood plantations are not sustainable. So it's actually the raw material here that is a real problem, and so trying to avoid viscose is a really good thing for the environment, and there are some great alternatives to viscose, one of which is Tencel, which is one of my favourite fabrics. I love the way Tencel feels. It's very fluid, it feels soft to the touch, and it's a really sustainable option. So Tencel is a cellulose fabric, and it's made by dissolving more wood pulp, so it's 50% more absorbent than cotton. It takes a lot less chemicals to produce, and also when the waste product is produced, it's also recycled, so it's actually like a closed loop production process, so it just causes a lot less damage. So Tencel is actually a fabric that's really growing in popularity. It's being produced by an Austrian company, and it's something that I had an awareness a lot of back in the day when I worked back in fashion, and also because COS was using a lot of Tencel in their shirts and things, so it's very drapey, and I really loved that fabric, so I knew of it a long time before it's become more popular. Because it's also got great moisture absorbing properties and antibacterial properties, it's really great for active wear. So if you are looking for gym clothes, yoga clothes, Pilates clothes, you know, whatever, think about Tencel, because it's actually got really good properties that work very well for active wear as well. So Tencel is one that you should definitely have on your radar, and as I said before, quite a few brands are starting to bring in this fabric. It's growing in popularity, so it's not something that should be too hard to find. Just wanted to add a little caveat here, just to note that not all natural fibres are good. So silk is an example of this. Silk is natural, however the way that it's processed uses a lot of heat and chemicals, so it's not necessarily the most sustainable fabric. So I would say if you're going to buy silk fabrics, don't buy loads and loads of silk thinking that you're doing a good thing. Buy a couple of pieces that you think are going to last for a long time. Try and buy pre-loved. Try and make sure you look after the maintenance of that fabric well, so that you're not having to replace lots of silk, because actually, although it's a natural fibre, the way it's processed is quite environmentally heavy and has an impact there. Similarly with cotton, like I've just talked about, and some sort of denim. Again, you think, oh, you know, it's cotton, it's great, but again, it takes up a hell of a lot of water for one pair of jeans. It's insane. I will put the statistic up here for you guys to see, because it's really shocking. So in that sense, don't always think that I'm buying, you know, a pair of jeans and it's cotton, so that's a good thing, because I think you need to sort of delve into the production process a bit more and kind of see what is involved in making that garment. So again, with denim, I would definitely go for organic cotton jeans. I would try and go for vintage jeans, jeans that are pre-loved, whether it's a charity shop or a vintage store, because you can find some great finds there. And I think if we can all limit the amount of denim that we buy that's newly created from conventional cotton, it will be a great thing because too much water is used you know, in the production of jeans. So a couple of other really good sustainable and natural options are linens and hemps. So linen is really good for the summer months, as we know, and it's very low impact on the environment. So is hemp. So hemp keeps you warm in the winter and keeps you cool in the summer. So it absorbs moisture really well, and it's another really good sustainable fabric. The good thing about hemp is that it requires very little water. It's grown all over the world, and it doesn't really use any pesticides, and it fertilizes the soil naturally. So it's a great fabric. The same with linen. Linen is a really good sustainable fabric to invest in. It's derived from the flax plant, and it's a very hardy little crop. So the good thing about linen is that everything gets used, so nothing is wasted. It doesn't need to grow on for fertile soil. It doesn't need to be irrigated. It's just a really sustainable fabric. When it's not dyed, it's also biodegradable. It can withstand really high temperatures. It's great for being blended. So having an organic cotton linen blend t-shirt is perfectly doable. And it's just a really good fabric for your sort of spring, summer wardrobes or spring, summer capsules. So it's definitely something to think about investing in because it just is a very low impact fabric. So wool is a really great fabric, and I think it's a natural fibre, and obviously it's got great properties. It keeps you warm in the winter, but also you can wear wool in the warmer months and it keeps you cool. I think with wool, the thing to consider is to sort of where it's from. So it's better to try and buy local with wool as much as possible. So you know, if you're in the UK, buying wool from sort of the Scottish Highlands would be really good to help that economy. New Zealand wool has got some really good, well-known animal welfare credentials as well. So it's about the production process, I think, with wool as opposed to the actual product itself. But wool is a good fabric to invest in for your wardrobes. I think you can't really go too wrong with wool. Guys, this has just been a really kind of quick guide to some things that can get you started on your journey to a more sustainable wardrobe. I mean, I am by no means you know, the oracle when it comes to these kind of things. I think there's so much more reading I need to do, and there's so much more learning I need to do as well. But I'm hoping that I can impart a little bit of knowledge that I have with you guys on this subject matter. If there are any things that you can teach me, please do down in the comments below. Let's have a little chat. Anything else you'd like to know, do also leave it in the comments. I'll be happy to make further videos down this vein if that's what you're interested in. I think it's just key to say that, you know, I'm not here trying to beat anyone up for having any of the fabrics that are a little bit more damaging to the environment. I think we've all got a mix in our wardrobes of things that we've bought before, being a little bit more alerted to the dangers that are happening in our environment right now. So I would say, you know, don't just watch this video and go and throw everything out. I think the key is to, you know, be mindful now of what you're buying. Think about buying things pre-loved. Think about really holding on to the items that you've got. So even if they are made of polyester, think about being able to use them for as long as possible, and then sort of passing them on in a more sustainable way. So not necessarily just giving them away, because sometimes that doesn't work, but hopefully selling them to somebody who will actually use it going forward, and just make sure that that kind of thing doesn't end up in landfill, and just trying to basically be as sustainable as we can with what's in our wardrobes currently. And then when we do make new purchases, then try and consider, okay, what's the better alternative? So, you know, don't go out and throw your whole wardrobe out, but don't also feel incredibly guilty about what you've got. We're all learning, and we're all trying to make small changes at a time to make a bigger difference. So yes, I hope you found this helpful. I will catch up with you in my next video. Bye.